Batman Ninja. Is it awesome? Whew. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for Batman Ninja. Oh, I had so much fun with this movie. I thought this movie was a lot of fun. It was really great. But like all movies, it's got its positives and its negatives. Now, I downloaded the digital download of it, so that's how I have this movie. Comes out on Blu-ray May 8th. So is it going to be worth buying? Is it going to be worth checking out? Well, let's dive into this. So first off, the positives. In terms of the animation alone, probably my favorite DC animated film. The animation was just beautiful. The artwork was amazing. I mean, when the characters were fighting, it was amazing choreography and everything was so smooth. Everything looked so good. And what was really interesting was they used the animation and part of telling the story. Because there was one tiny chunk of this story, and it was an exceedingly important chunk. They changed up the animation style. And at first it was kind of jarring to me. But then as it, that little part of the story began to unfold, it made sense. And I thought that was really smart and really clever how for this one tiny chunk and for the purpose of what this tiny chunk was, it made sense that the animation style changed to what it was. And so that was really interesting to me to see how they did that. And, once that little tiny chunk of the movie was over, the animation style went back to, the normal animation style of the movie. But that was really cool how they used the animation to tell the story that way, the way they changed it up in this one segment to emphasize this and then move on to something else. It was jarring at first, but then I got it and it worked. And I thought it was really cool how they used that method to tell the story. The other thing that I loved about this movie was the story itself. If you've seen the trailer, you know the story. Batman, along with all the villains of Gotham and, all of his allies, get caught up in a time vortex and they end up in ancient feudal Japan. And so that was really interesting because in that way, it reminded me very much of Iron Man 3. In a very good way, though, because Iron Man 3 was all about Iron Man, losing the primary access to his suits and to his technology. And so he had to figure out how to be the hero without the technology. And that's where Batman was with this, because he is the world's greatest detective, and Batman's backup plans have backup plans, then those backups to the backup plans have their own backup plans. Well, now, by a total surprise, he's thrown into feudal Japan, and you see he's not completely off guard, but suddenly when he doesn't have his technology to lean on, it's very interesting to watch him have to adapt. It's interesting to see how this affects him and how this affects him mentally, and then how he works to overcome that to do what he's got to do. So in terms of telling the story of Batman's character and his personal development from beginning to end of this movie, it was incredibly interesting. And they did a lot of interesting aspects with the time travel as well. I mean, how is Joker this Japanese lord, he got there 2 years before Batman, even though they went through the vortex at the same time. It's just, I don't know, time travel's weird. Point is, so that was a really interesting plot, and what they did with that and Batman arriving in this time period when he arrived. The Joker was freaking psychopathic in this. This was an amazing Joker. Now, I saw the English version because when I downloaded it, I guess that was just the version I got. And it was interesting because in the credits it said Tony Hale was the Joker. Tony Hale! Buster Bluth!
Hey, brother.
Was the Joker. That blew my mind. That dude's got some range, man. I didn't even recognize his voice at all, though I bet you if I watch it a second time now, I will catch it. But he did an amazing job. I do want to go back and watch it in Japanese, though. Now, it's interesting because, all the other villains are there, and here's what I wish. They had really interesting setup to these other villains, and I wish we got more into that because I would like to have seen more of them than what I saw. What I got of them was incredibly interesting, but I wish I got just a tad bit more. I guess that's a nice segue into the negatives of this movie. One of the biggest negatives, and it stands out to me the most as I think about this movie, was there was a portion when we got towards the end, and without giving away spoilers, I'll just say it got very Power Ranger-y. To the extreme. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, really? Huh. And I don't know how I felt about that. Because when the Power Ranger stuff was starting, I was like, oh, that's cool. It's Power Rangers. And then it just got a little hokey for me. Which is odd to say, because this whole story is about a dude who dresses up as a bat and fights bad guys dressed as a bat. His arch nemesis is a dude who dresses as a clown, and they got sucked into a time vortex to ancient Japan. So yeah, it's like, I should take a chill pill on that a little bit. On the other hand, I could not help but feel very Power Ranger-like towards the end there, and it kind of took me out of it. I was like, all right. And then, like, the cheese of it kind of increased, and I went, all right, can we dial this back? Let's get back to the epic story and the epic things that we were in the midst of. And then it did. It dialed that back, and it got right back into the epic stuff, and I was like, okay, good. But yeah, there was that whole little Power Ranger-y portion that was not my favorite. Robin kind of had a little sub-story, and I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to give too many spoilers, but it was a little hokey. And I just feel like maybe if they gave more time to it, it could have been developed and been more fun, but it just was a little hokey to me. And that's all I'll say, because, again, I don't want to spoil it. Spoiler-free reviews are hard. Seriously. In the end, I think I'm going to give this movie a solid B+. I was dancing between A- and B+, but I landed on B+. I'm glad I own it. I am, because the animation is absolutely amazing. There are so many epic things in this movie. It is overall a fantastic Batman story. But it is a little disappointing to me how cheesy it felt to me when it got towards the end and things felt very Power Ranger-like for me. And so I kind of had a hard time with that, and I would like to have dived more into the other villains and, you know, the stuff that they were doing. It was pretty good what we got, but it was so interesting that I wanted more. And I felt gypped that I didn't get that more. But either way, Joker was fantastic. Batman was fantastic. Overall, good movie. Comes with a high recommendation. Maybe rent it on, like, Amazon or something, you know, before you decide to take that leap and buy it, you know, just to see for yourself. But honestly, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, and, you know, I'll watch it again soon. I got a brother-in-law, and we love DC animated movies, and I'm sure he and I will watch that together here really soon. So what did you think of Batman Ninja if you've seen it? Let me know in the comments, and while you're there, hit the subscribe button to become a Durbanian, and hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified the very next time I drop a movie review, theological analysis, or anything else I do here. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.